did were all we had. Defend our land. But talking about defending our land, the year 2017 was mixed in economic terms. From traumatic recession to recovery, it started with a negative growth rate of 0.8%. But the economy recovered and moved out of negative growth to a positive path of a long-term sustained growth. For the year 2018, the forecast varies. The IMF says the projection for the growth is 2.1%, below the 2.6% of the rating agency Fitch, and the revised World Bank's 2.5%.
So it depends on where you're standing and where you're
Where are you looking at the elephant from?
But there's
a range between 2
and
between 2.1 and 2.6 so far. All these projections will not make meaning until Nigerians feel the impact on their living standards.
Because if you tell, the woman that is, just minding her business, small scale, and you're saying 2.1%, she's looking at you and saying, how does it affect
the price of bread in the market?
Yes, the price of fish.
Okay, so, well, we are not the economists. We have two gentlemen in the studio to help us look at this. Dr. Ayo Teriba is in the studio. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
He's an economist. And Dr. Bongo Adis, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Also an economist. Mr. Teriba, let me begin with you. That range, IMF 2.1, Fitch 2.6, World Bank revised 2.5. Those are their projections. But what are the projections of the Nigerian authority?
Well, I do not. Well, the projection of the Nigerian authority you'll find in the proposed budget, which, if you say, all of them are saying 2% or more, basically, and I do think that the president's proposal too is in that direction. 2.5. Yeah, 2.5.
Okay. But these projections that are out there, do you think they are a reflection of the realities?
Well, you're just trying to figure out where the economy is likely to be 1 year ahead. After having dipped into recession, we exited the recession in the third quarter, of 2017. And as of the third quarter, only the oil GDP grew. It was a 25% growth in oil GDP. The non-oil GDP was still in decline.
Minus 0.8.
And the positive impact of the oil GDP on non-oil GDP is going to happen with a lag. Because what dragged the non-oil GDP into recession was the reduced access to foreign exchange because of the decline of the oil sector. Now the oil sector is out of that, both on grounds of price and quantity. The impact on the non-oil sector will come maybe a quarter later. So you should expect that by fourth quarter, the non-oil sector too should be in the positive. And that both sectors, if the oil conditions in the oil market remains favorable in 2018, both sectors should grow in 2018. And so it's realistic. Because the reason we dipped into a recession was the slump in oil price and quantity. They're back to pre-recession levels now, pre-crisis levels, where oil price is not yet back to 100, but at 60. It's better than 30. This time, this time in 2016. Okay. So it's realistic to expect that the economy should perform if conditions in the oil markets remain favorable.
Okay.
If. I like that condition.
Okay, projections are good. There's a way it keeps you on your toes to know where to follow. And even the African Development Bank is saying, the projections are, looking upwards for Nigeria. But what are those things or those sectors that will drive this projection for us to have that inclusive growth in Nigeria's economy?
Well, the first thing, following what Dr. Teriba said, a call on Nigeria is a call on oil. So we need to understand that once the oil sector is doing well, then it's a matter of time before the rest of the economy picks up. We're talking of inclusive growth, so that is inequality in the system. So what are the sectors that could help to ameliorate the strictures that we find in the economic system today? One of the things that we've seen over the years is the economy swinging, into the terrain where you have the haves and the have-nots, and some people have also added the have-yats. So that division has become so wide, between the haves and the have-nots. Now, what are the sectors that could help the people at the lower end of the pyramid to begin to have a new ease of life? So the first one is agriculture, because majority of Nigerians, more than 70% of our people are still employed in subsistence agriculture. And we've seen this government set up a whole lot of schemes to support the agricultural sector and also the small and medium enterprises. In the current budget for 2018, I think $100 billion has been provided as funding for the agricultural sector. And also development of the value chains. They have about $25 billion put for that. Now, the good thing about it is that the budget is coming out on time, and then the debate on the budget seems to be taking place also on time. So if the implementation starts quite on time, we can hope that maybe we can reach a high implementation rate for the budget this year. And if that happens, then perhaps by the end of the year, especially if election processes do not get in the way, then I think, people will begin to leverage that.
Dr. Addis, do you know something we don't know? They said 2018 budget will be out on time.
Well, the budget, because during the economic outlook, the other day organized under the auspices of the DG of budget, the Minister of Udo Doma was there. So these were some of the projections.
He's saying that the budget will come out on time.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Dr. Teriba,
let us believe them. And moreover, this is January, and then the discussion is taking place. So let's hope that it happens.
Okay, Dr. Teriba, the budget, based on that question, the budget in 2017 came out in almost the middle of the year. Now, if indeed this will come out, I was putting down some things here. In the conversation around the recession, you talked about how we came out of recession, which is the oil side of it. The non-oil side was still in the negative as at the third quarter. But looking at the non-oil side, government's putting infrastructure in place for agriculture, all sorts of investment in agriculture, support here and there. Manufacturing, services, nobody's hearing anything from that side. And if we're looking at how to balance out, do you think, especially based on that condition we gave, do you think we have what it takes to walk through that condition and balance out on this other side, the manufacturing and services side?
Right. The problem that Nigerian economy suffered is not sectoral. It's macroeconomic. It's not the problem of agriculture, or the problem of manufacturing, or the problem of services. It's like when they say, that if the heavens are falling, it's not an individual problem, it's everybody's problem. Oil price collapse robbed the country of about half of our annual export revenues. Whereas we have been used to $100 billion a year, about 100 on average. For the preceding 10 years up to 2014, we've struggled to get $50 billion a year in export earnings since 2015. That's the problem. It has robbed the country of government revenue. It has robbed the country of foreign exchange supply. So what dragged all the sectors into recession was that.